Hey everybody, it's good to be here. I just wanted to do a quick video and just a live to help explain that I went through a carnivore fast this week, and I thought I would share the information with you. I'm at the gym right now, so if it sounds kind of noisy, I apologize. There's a dog in the gym right now. So if you hear barking, that's what it is. We're kind of a family run gym, so we at the end of the day on a Saturday, we'll let a client bring a dog with them just so that they can get their workout in. We have one client that will bring her dog to work, so she comes here with her little puppy. So if you're hearing it, but anyways, for the past week, I have decided to do a carnivore fast, and it wasn't just based off of this book that I read. One of these, I just kind of took up this book. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's called The Carnivore Code. Paul Saladino, he's an MD, and he does have a very interesting story. But I didn't do it because of his book. I, in fact, haven't even really started. I didn't start his book until maybe 2 days ago, just to try to get more information. I've been studying carnivore style of eating for a while. I've had a belief or a strong belief in the ketogenic style of dieting for many years, and I've in fact helped a number of clients achieve weight loss with ketosis. But mostly when I've worked with people on ketogenic diets, I've worked with them to really help lower inflammation and just to calm down their immune system. So that's always kind of been the primary reason that I've worked with the ketogenic diet. So the carnivore diet is similar. There's definitely a similar pattern to the ketogenic diet. But what I did this week was a little bit different. I decided that I wanted to increase my fasting. And I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll do a carnivore fast, which I've read about and had a few doctors speak about. My situation is a little bit unique because I have a lot of food sensitivities because of the autoimmune disease. So I can't eat chicken or eggs or dairy. So it makes it somewhat complicated for me because I just don't really have that many options. For those of you that have more options, you could probably do a lot with this type of plan. I still would be weary of anyone just jumping into this. I mean, I do this for a living, and I've done this for a living for a long time. And I'm doing this also in part because I want to experiment with it. I wouldn't ever want to put someone on a plan that I didn't feel like I had already experienced on my own. And there's several different tiers to doing a carnivore style diet. I just simply did one style. What I wanted to do was have a 3-day fast where I ate meat only and drank water and then had salt. So I didn't have any vegetables. What I find is that my immune system is being a little bit responsive, and I feel like it's being responsive to vegetables. And, I tried to go the Gundry route where I was paying attention to lectins, and I'm trying to do all of these different, things by avoiding vegetables that could cause a lectin response. But I'm an O blood type, and I do not feel good as a vegan. Of course, given what I do for a living, I tried it because it was like, well, I got to work at some point with vegans, so I need to know what it's like. And if you're an A blood type or even an AB blood type, then I definitely believe that you are, you can be more open to doing a vegan style diet. But if you're an O blood type or a B blood type, I really think that you're going to have some issues if you try to do a strict plant-based diet. And I can tell you, I thought I almost put myself in the hospital doing it. I went way too many days without meat, and my body did not like it at all. And so I just switched it. And so for the past 2 months, I've been doing a limited amount of animal protein. So whenever I do protein, I only do beef. I only do grass finished beef. So it's 100% grass fed. So I do not just run up to the local grocery store and just grab any old meat. I have a farmer that I get it from. I have a farmer that I have a personal relationship with, that I know for certain that they're not finishing the animals on corn or grain. So it's just 100% sure. There's no questions asked about it. And the reason that is because my immune system responds to that. So, I mean, if I can't eat corn or grains, I probably shouldn't eat animals that eat corn or grains. So, and that's also a big part of why I end up having a problem with eggs or end up having a problem with chicken. I think because you can't really find any source of that doesn't have that. So ultimately, what I was doing was I was fasting until 12 every day. And then I would have my serving of animal protein first, which would be grass-fed beef. And then I'd have vegetables with that. And I'd have about 2.5 cups, maybe 3 cups of vegetables. It was just a Pyrex dish, about like so. And I'd have a little bit of olive oil on there, which again, you have to think is plant-based as well. So I'm just layering the different plants here. And again, this is just my personal experience. And I would do salt and pepper, sea salt and pepper on top of those, very generic. I wouldn't put sauces. I didn't even put mustard on my meat anymore. I even skipped that. So I was just really trying to get my immune system to calm down. My weight had gone up to like 129, and it wasn't because of anything I was eating. And I was exercising every day, not doing anything extreme with my immune system. I can't like go do CrossFit. I swell like crazy from stuff like that. I just have like a cortisol response from it. So it just made no sense that I was going up to 129. Of course, we all have stress. I'm sure stress affects me, but I was under a whole lot more stress back in February or in March when they shut my business down than I'm under right now when we're working. So I just don't like to use stress as an answer, because I feel like with my faith, I manage stress very well. So I had no answers as to why my weight was going up. It just really, truly didn't make any sense to me. And I honestly was pretty concerned about it. So I reached out to Dr. Bly's office and I said, look, it's been 1.5 years since I did stem cell treatment. I did the full-blown stem cell treatment where they remove fat and then they hook you up to an IV and then they reload it into your system. And I felt amazing after doing that. Like, I saw some great changes from the stem cell treatment. I go to Dr. Richard Bly, and I did tag him on this. So it's interesting how much of a change that made to my immune system. I even had less sensitivities, and I found myself being able to deal with the heat much better than I ever had before. So I even contacted Dr. Bly's office. I asked them to run blood work to check immune system functioning and just standard hormone levels, things like that, just to kind of make sure my thyroid wasn't off, there wasn't anything crazy. Well, my thyroid antibody levels were high, which again, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing anything. 15 years ago, you'd say, well, okay, but you were still having almond butter and you still had apples and you still had sweet potatoes and you still, I still had all these things, none of those being bad foods. But for my system, it was so sensitive, I just could not have those foods. So anyways, I asked them and they said, Deb, I guess there's really no reason why you couldn't repeat that stem cell treatment if you felt that good. I'm like, with it being 1.5 years later, do you think some of that could be wearing off right now? And therefore, my immune system's kind of going back to sort of like an old pattern. They're just not 100% sure one way or the other. I also go to a doctor. Her name's Dr. Anna Bone. And she's a chiropractor, and she does a more homeopathic version of healthcare. And she's been with me for about 15 years now. She's pretty amazing. And she really noticed a difference after the stem cell treatments. And really, it just didn't make any sense why my body was just sort of staying so swollen. It just didn't make any sense. So I'm just was just concerned. So I decided a month before I was going on vacation, I knew I was going to have a week where I was going to do nothing but relax, right? So I figured the month before vacation, I'm going to limit my animal protein by having one meal at noon, and then I'm going to have another meal at around 4 o'clock, which will be vegetables and collagen. And then I'm going to have a few more vegetables and one more scoop of collagen at around 7 o'clock. And so I did that, and I did that for a month, and I got down to like 128. Every now and again I'd see 127, but basically I lost a pound in a month. From just eating that way. I mean, that was all I had. And so, it just wasn't adding up. I was really starting to struggle with it because I was just concerned that there was just something that just wasn't working, in my system. It's not that I felt like the food was necessarily attacking me, but it's like something was working against my immune system. So I just kept feeling prompted, honestly, in my spirit that the vegetables were honestly causing a response in my body. And one thing I will say is this carnivore code book, this MD, again, I'm not telling you to do this diet at all, okay? I'm not telling you this is the greatest thing in the world. I'm just telling you what my experience has been for the past week going carnivore. That's all I'm doing. I'm not a doctor. If you're worried about your cholesterol, you're going to need to do some studying on it. There's books like The Carnivore Code that'll talk about it. There's doctors like Dr. Mark Hyman that I would suggest following, learning more about cholesterol. There's a book called Cholesterol Clarity. If you're going to start to go on a higher protein, higher fat diet, lower carb diet, you have to get a little better understanding of your cholesterol because it doesn't always work within the parameters of standard medicine. So you just don't look the same. But I've had a cardiac calcium test and I tested 0. So I'm going to trust that over the cholesterol numbers. Although my cholesterol numbers are okay, I'm still going to trust that. And I've done ketogenic style of eating for many years. So went on vacation and was hovering, 128, 127, just about 2 weeks before. And so finally before vacation, right before I decided, I'm going to have more extended fast and I'm going to see what happens if I have a more extended fast. So I had 2 days out of each week where I'd go until 4 o'clock and fast and I'd eat one meal and it would be a good sized meal and it always had my meat in it. And I did get down to 126 before I left for vacation. I'm telling you the weight because I don't care about the weight. I'm 5'2". I shouldn't be 126. I'm 5'2". I probably should be 115. Right? But I've had my whole entire life I've had muscle. So I don't train like a bodybuilder anymore. I don't try to be a bodybuilder. It's not what I want. I just want to be healthy. That's all I care about. I train bodybuilders, but I don't train like one. I just want to be healthy so I can continue to bless people with what I do. But the reality is that I don't feel I should have the weight that I have on my body because it's swelling. It doesn't feel like body fat. It feels like swelling. And I think that that's a big difference. I feel like I probably still have about 6 to 8 pounds of swelling on me. And I just can't get to the bottom of what exactly is going on. So anyways, I decided that I was going to do this carnivore diet when I got back from vacation. Left for vacation around 127, okay? And on vacation, when I get into that extreme heat, I don't normally eat fruit. So when I get into that extreme heat, by about the third day, I start having one serving of fruit each day because I feel like that heat just depletes me, and I feel like that fruit kind of helps to get me out of that. Again, I don't eat fruit normally, so this is different. So I know my weight's gonna pop from that. So I'm gonna feel a little different from that, but that's worth it to me to do that. So I got back in town, weighed myself the very next morning after having that serving of fruit each day, and just basically the same plan, but just adding that. And I was basically back up. I was around 127 when I got back. And I definitely felt swollen. I mean, I just did. I felt more swollen than before I left. And I just felt swollen. And my eyes were kind of like, this was all like pushing into this, and everything just felt more puffy. My arms, my hands, everything just felt more puffy. The lower part of my belly. When I would eat my vegetables, I would get very tired. This was also something that's been going on for the past 3 months. I would eat and just be tired. I mean, real tired. It didn't matter if it was a collagen and a vegetable meal or if it was a beef and a vegetable meal. I was tired and I was really struggling. And I honestly, the only time I really felt good was when I was fasting. It was the only time I truly had the freedom and really good quality energy. So ultimately, when I came back, I said, all right, so I'm going to start, on Monday, and I'm going to do 3 days of carnivore, and I'd had my normal food on Sunday. Everything was normal. And I got my grass-fed beef, and I just decided I'm going to eat at noon and I'm going to eat around 5. And I am typically used to having 2 meals a day, but I'm also used to having a whole bunch of vegetables with those meals. So I kind of planned in my head like I was going to need to have a third serving of meat. That was my plan. It was like, I know that eating at noon and 4 is not going to be enough. So I'm going to plan on, another serving probably around 7. And Mondays are a very busy day because that's the day I work my bakery. So it's a 12-hour day. Well, I had that serving at around 4. I couldn't have ate another serving of meat if I wanted to. And I mean, I'm the kind of person that could eat 5 plates of vegetables. Like you set out 3 bags of frozen vegetables, I'm going to take them down. I am hungry for vegetables. Like, I'll eat them, eat them, eat them. But I mean, I've always also really liked carbs, but who doesn't, But I've also always been on a relatively low to moderate carb diet. So I ate the 2 servings of meat that day. I took all my vitamins. I mean, I took everything. And of course, the next day I wake up, I'm 2 pounds lighter. So I'm down to 125 at that point after 1 day of doing this. And it's just a little bit surprising to me because it literally was a whole month of being super focused on my food and super focused on really trying to, make changes to my immune system. And I lost 2 pounds in a month. Well, in 1 day, I lose 2 pounds. So I don't even know what that was, but on the extended fast days that I even did prior to leaving for vacation, I still didn't feel that way, but I was also having a lot of vegetables and I was having olive oil, so that's plant-based as well. So again, I'm not going to try to explain the whole veggie thing, but this book does. And so I did like the way he broke that down. I mean, there's an entire chapter on broccoli in here. So it's pretty interesting stuff. You might want to take a listen to it. I get it on Audible, so it's easier. So ultimately, I'm down to 125. I decided I'm going to do 2 more days. I run out and get some grass-finished ribeyes and some chuck roast. Throw that in the crock pot. I make my ribeyes and chop it all up. And I started my day on Tuesday with the hamburger. And then I go to have my ribeye that night. And I want you to understand that normally, like, I would go to the Capitol Grill and I order the bone-in ribeye. Giant John, orders this size filet. I ordered the bone-in ribeye. And I have to take a portion of the ribeye and cut it and tell them to take it right when they bring it because I could sit there and eat that entire ribeye. Always. Normally, that's how I am. I have no idea why, but I get just a ribeye that was not bone in, and I couldn't even finish the ribeye. Like, I was truly satisfied from having that steak. Like, it was very satisfying. And I had the meat at noon, and I had this ribeye around 5 or 6, but I just couldn't eat again. I was fully satisfied. And the meat that I had at noon was like 8 ounces, so 7 or 8 ounces. So it wasn't like I had a little bit. Like, normally I'm eating maybe 4 ounces. But I really couldn't eat anymore. And that was very surprising to me. One thing I did make sure that I did all throughout the day was I drank water all throughout the day, and I also used sea salt. So I didn't take any minerals because my body has a negative response to magnesium, so I can't actually take a magnesium pill. His book even suggested this, just to have your salt shaker, your pure sea salt shaker that's mineralized. I would just take a pinch of that all throughout the day whenever I would, kind of think of it like maybe every 4 hours, and the one night I was at work and I felt a little fatigue and I just took a pinch of that sea salt with some water, felt fine again. It kind of gave me that next hit of energy that I needed. So I think when the fatigue would come on, it was truly just that, like, maybe my sodium was getting too low or my electrolytes were just getting a little bit out of balance. That's my assumption. And so the salt really helped. And again, please, I just want to reiterate, I'm not a carnivore master by any stretch of the imagination. I have been working with people on ketogenic diets for many, many, many years. Maybe almost 20. And so I am very familiar with that. But this carnivore code, this is not something that I'm an expert at, but I am doing it intentionally so that I can see how it impacts me, therefore getting a better understanding of how it would impact someone down the road. So by the third day, this is supposed to be my last day, right? I'm finding myself totally able to fast until noon and genuinely aggravated at the fact that I can't with work fast until 2 because I'm feeling amazing when I'm fasting. Like euphoric amazing, kind of to the point to where I don't want to be around other people because I think I'm going to talk so fast that they're going to think I'm on speed. And I'm not kidding. I'm being as candid as that I know how to be with you. During my fast, I felt phenomenal. And I kind of wanted to shout it from the rooftops. But then I was like, well, what if it doesn't last? What if I don't feel that way tomorrow? I just want to kind of check out this 3 days and really see how it goes. So I felt amazing on the fast. The only reason I ate at noon was because I started work. And once I start my pattern of work, I honestly don't have breaks. I do not have breaks. I can barely get to the bathroom. So me sitting and eating beef is not going to be easy at all or easy for me to digest. So anyways, the fasting was amazing. I was aggravated I couldn't fast until 2 because I totally think I would have been capable of doing it and felt great from doing it. Third day came and went. I had roast, I had steak, and I felt great. So I went home that night and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and prepare my zucchini. I made some zucchini noodles. I was going to do a cup and in a cup, I was just going to do the meat and then a cup the next day and kind of see how I feel. I was going to prepare it in some olive oil. And then as I was going to bed that night, I'm like, I think I'm just going to do it for the whole week. I'll do Monday through Friday carnivore, and then Saturday and Sunday I'll bring some vegetables in. Saturday I'll go a little light into it, a cup, and then Sunday I'll maybe bring in more, maybe a double serving of asparagus, some zucchini noodles, and then maybe some broccoli. I'll kind of bring, multiple servings. So I'm a little bit heavier on things, and then I'll maybe intentionally try to do 3 meals on Sunday. So that's kind of what my plan was. But I just decided I'm not going to do 3 days. I'm going to go ahead and do 5 days because I felt fine and I actually felt really good. And what's strange is although my weight went down, which it did, as of this morning, I was 122.6. So just to remind you, for vacation, that was 127. It took me a month to be able to get to 127 from the 129. That was with a lot of different things I was trialing. So I'm 122.6 today. I feel less swollen. My stomach, I only have so much food in me, so that's probably part of the reason why my stomach feels really flat, but my stomach felt great, or feels great. I didn't have any problems with constipation as long as I drank my water. If I found myself getting too busy to drink water, well, then I nothing wanted to come out. So I would just down a bottle of water, and then 2 hours later I'd down another bottle of water, and sure enough, I'd be in the bathroom, going to the bathroom. But I went to the bathroom twice a day, and that's, sometimes a struggle with people that do diets like this. So anyways, I'm down to that 122.6. I definitely feel less swollen. the hunger thing is weird. Like, I am not hungry. I'm not hungry. I want to tell you I'm hungry, but I'm not hungry. I mean, I wouldn't mind eating. Food looks good, and I'd have no problem sitting down to a meal, but I'm not hungry. And I am the type of person that literally like scrapes the edges of my meat container to get every crumble of meat I have left because I want to eat so much. I want to eat it all. I know I'm only going to eat that amount, but I want to eat it. And the reality is that I just couldn't even finish the meat sometimes during this week. I simply couldn't finish it. Like, I just put the lid on it. In fact, yesterday for my 4 o'clock meal, I could only eat half of my meat. And so then I had to warm it up like 2.5 to 3 hours later and have the other half and that was the first time I had done 3 meals because I just couldn't eat it. It was too much. It was like rich and like I was fine. I was fully sustained. I find that to be super just unique and interesting. I also find it to be super interesting how much energy I had. Like I said, the energy was like euphoric. Like I had a lot of energy. At the end of my day, the very end of my day when I went home, we had some stressful circumstances this week. So I definitely felt like I was more wore out at the end of the day. Like I was tired, but I feel like I kind of feel like that all the time anyways at the end of my day. I mean, I have powerhouse days when I work. I don't rest ever. If someone cancels for 30 minutes, I'm recording a podcast, and I'm still not going to take a bathroom break. So me feeling tired at the end of the day is pretty normal. So I don't really relate it to this. The no hunger, the euphoric energy, I think that's pretty amazing. I've made sure I've got my salt in. That's been a priority. I've worked out. I've done my fasted cardio every morning. And then I've just done my weight training that I normally do. I haven't had any issues with that. I haven't felt that at all. One thing that I think has been interesting, and you could take this for what it's worth, but my thinking has been interesting. I kind of feel like I've stepped outside of the box and I'm sort of watching people with a different set of eyes. And I know you're probably thinking I'm talking cuckoo now, but I'm serious. This is what this week has been, and I'm just kind of sharing the experience with you in case anyone's considering trying it. I find myself looking at people complaining about things, and I'm looking at them like I literally ate meat and water this week. Like I was able to eat meat and water this week, and you are complaining because you can't have pizza, or you're complaining and you have diabetes, or you're complaining because, you want your kid to be able to eat cookies every day because you don't want them to have a eating disorder if they don't have cookies. And I find myself just sitting here looking at things like people are over consuming on such a crazy level. Like they're poisoning themselves every day and they're expecting someone to work a miracle with them when they're not willing to remove the poison. And so, I don't know, I'm just seeing things in a different light. I think fasting kind of does that to you a little bit. It just gives you sort of a different level of clarity because you recognize, and in a way I like that spirituality that's connected with that because you're so sort of disconnected from the care of all things associated with food and you're sort of disconnected from the flesh. You're not feeding your flesh, you're feeding your faith every day through the fast. And so this week, life seemed simpler. It just didn't seem like it had to be so complicated. And then when I would listen to people's problems, they seemed like they were so minuscule in the grand scheme of things that could be a problem. And it seems so simple to just say, I'm not going to eat that anymore. I don't want to have diabetes. I don't want to have high blood pressure. I don't want to be poisoned every day. I have MS. I don't want to eat these bad foods because it's going to make the MS worse. I have rheumatoid arthritis. Instead of taking a medication, I'm going to stop poisoning my body. And then I won't have to take the medication because I'm not poisoning my body anymore. I've always thought that way. I've always been a very passionate person when it comes to stuff like that. But fasting has changed that. And this carnivore style dieting this week has definitely taken it to a different level. I'm seeing it from a far different perspective. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm just letting you know that. It saved money. I mean, I just bought a bunch of meat, and it really wasn't that expensive because the amount that I had to buy, it just really wasn't that big a deal. It just wasn't that complicated. I didn't have these mega food prep day. Like it's been pretty awesome, actually. I do not consume dairy, but his book, suggests that you do grass-fed butter and things like that. I'm kind of an anti-dairy person. I know ghee is certainly a better source, and so is grass-fed butter, but I don't feel well when I do dairy, any form. I don't feel well. So I'm just gonna play with this for a little while. This weekend, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have the vegetables like I suggested earlier, and then I'm gonna try it again next week. So I'm gonna try it for 5 more days. Figure if I did it 5 days this week, might as well do it for another 5 days next week. I mean, God willing, I stay okay, I stay healthy, and then you guys can kind of learn from me of what it does and how you feel. The sustainability and the mental clarity is it's remarkable. I don't know how to explain it. That sustainability and keeping someone from having the desire to want food all the time, if I could bottle that up and hand it to 75% of the people that I meet with on a regular basis that are struggling with food, and food is literally like a demon to them, it could change their life forever. So maybe a diet like this could change their life forever. Maybe it could calm the immune system down. This particular MD that wrote this book, he had an autoimmune disease, and he's basically healed himself of the autoimmune disease. So I'm going to believe God for that type of restoration. I can't say that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, because I'm not. But I do think I'm going to try it for another week for sure. So I'm going to try to go fully carnivore again for another 5 days, and then bring the veggies in on the weekend again. And then I'll decide where I'm going to go from there for the next week if I decide I want to do it again. Kind of see how my weight's doing, see how my immune system is responding. If I'm feeling less and less inflamed and less swollen, then I may continue to do it for a full month. But we'll just see. I don't even know that I'll do that. I may not even make it through next week. But the reality is that we can't expect your doctor to be on board for something like this. They didn't go to school for this, okay? So you can't criticize them if they don't have a positive opinion of it. I have a lady that has diabetes, and her doctor told her the other day that she's not allowed to do intermittent fasting. She has to eat the minute she wakes up. The problem is, if she eats every 3 hours of the day, she's going to keep having diabetes. She did fasting for 3 weeks, intermittent fasting, and I think she started at 10 o'clock. It wasn't even that late. And her blood sugars are down by like 60 points. The struggle is that the doctors are not, they're not being taught this level of medicine. This is a doctor that had to go way out of the box to write this book. Way out of the box to write this book. People like Dr. Mark Hyman, they're running a clinic and doing things totally different. Dr. David Perlmutter, these are guys that are doing medicine different. They're doing it functionally. And I mean, it's just really changing things. They're changing people's lives with this type of medicine. So the reality is that I'm not a doctor. I'm a health coach, okay? So I can't tell you how it's going to for sure affect your health. No one can. Okay, even a registered dietitian cannot tell you exactly how something's going to affect your health. I went to 2 registered dietitians 15 years ago to try to be well, both of them at a hospital, okay? Both of them registered dietitians, and I did exactly what they told me to do, and I gained 40 pounds, and I ended up on a thyroid medication. For the first time in my life, I went from a size 0 to 2 to a size 8 to 10. It was totally swelling. So then I hire another MD that's more homeopathic. He asks me what my blood type is, and he's like, "You are eating all of the wrong foods. The food you're eating is attacking you." Well, how am I supposed to know that? I went to 2 registered dietitians. Well, that's when it all started. That's when I started studying. That's when I got out of finance and I got into faith. First of all, that's when I got saved and started, living my life for the Lord. And he gave me the direction to start doing what I do, personal training and health coaching. And again, I cannot prescribe this diet for you. I can't even tell you how your body will respond to it. I can only tell you the response that I'm having. And on all my past clients that I've worked with, I can share with you, the experiences that they've had from ketogenic diets. Do I have all of my clients on ketogenic diets? Absolutely not. I do not. And some people don't do well on them. Like I told you, I think an A blood type and I think an AB blood type, it's not a good setting for them. But a B blood type and an O blood type, I've found that it's really very beneficial. If there was any negative that came from this, that tried to think of anything that just wasn't good, it was that I had moments where I kind of felt like I had reflux. There wasn't burning and there wasn't regurgitation. I didn't taste it or anything. But the problem is that I've always been in a habit of taking a betaine before I eat meat, and it's 500 milligrams. And then I've also always been in the habit of taking a fat enzyme, a fat enzyme, and then I take the butyrate, the butyric acid right before. So I've always been in the habit of taking those 3 things prior to. So one thing I'm thinking is I just might be taking too much betaine, given the amount of food that I'm eating, where I used to have all the vegetables with it. I just may not need that much betaine. So that might actually be causing that. So if I could pick out a negative thing, that's happened twice. It wasn't anything that woke me up at night. It wasn't anything that I tasted. It was just a little bit of discomfort, and kind of almost like some dryness that was there that I just didn't think should be there. And I'm wondering if it wasn't too much betaine because of that. So all in all, in summary, so far my week of carnivore fasting gave me euphoric levels of energy, which again, like I said, there were actual days where I locked myself in my office so that I wasn't talking at such a rapid rate that people felt like I was on speed or something. And I still kind of feel like clients that I met with in the morning probably felt that way, or that I'd had too much caffeine, even though I don't even consume caffeine. But, that was amazing. And the satiety was just incredible. I mean, the way that I just felt so sustained and really just at no point had any issues with hunger was just fantastic. So that's my summary of carnivore. I'll probably go through another video next week just to kind of let you all know how week 2 goes. And then, decide where I'm going to go from there after that. But I appreciate all of you listening. And should you have an interest in, in just trying to change your health with food, that's what we do here. We have a 6-month nutrition program where we tell you exactly what to eat, where to buy it from, how to prepare it, what to order when you eat out, anything you specifically should be drinking, what you ultimately need to be taking from a vitamin and mineral standpoint, what you should do when you eat out, and what you should do when you travel. It's all figured out for you. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program, or to meet with a personal trainer for a personal fitness assessment, not nutrition, but fitness assessment, so we can come in and assess any imbalances that you have, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com, or you can call us at 636-299 859-2208. And I just want to let you know that these podcasts are presented to you by Pure Plates, O'Fallon Nutrition, Dr. Richard Bly, and Elite Printing and Packaging. We work with O'Fallon Nutrition. They're right down the street from us. But even when I worked down at Powerhouse, I still sent people all the way up here because they're like the Whole Foods of St. Charles County. They really have great quality products, and they're individually owned and operated. We use Pure Plates every single week. They are a local St. Louis-based pre-prepared meal company. They do a lot of organic meals, and I highly recommend them. So it's pureplates.stl.com. If you're struggling with the prep of your food and you have some autoimmune scenarios like I do, and you need to be very cautious with your food, I would highly recommend going to Pure Plates. I mentioned the stem cell treatment. Dr. Bly also is a primary physician where he does concierge medicine. He is an amazing doctor. He has helped me with my hormones, helped me with my thyroid, helped me with my immune system. He's helped me with the stem cell treatments. He's done a lot for John, helping him with the PTSD and the brain issues. It's Dr. Bly, MD, BLIGHMD.com. And finally, Elite Printing and Packaging with Integrity Training Systems. All of our marketing materials are printed through Elite Printing and Packaging. They're a local company, but they work with people nationwide. And if you've ever tried a Sophie's Protein Bakery treat, it most definitely was carried to you in a buffalo check box, and those boxes are printed by Elite Printing and Packaging. We appreciate all of you listening today. Thank you so much for being a part of this. God bless you on your journey to feeling great.